Good morning. Welcome to morning meditation. I am Pastor Phil, and the annoying thing that's flying around my head, possibly around the camera, I have named Alfred. He says hello as well. Good morning, I'm Pastor Phil, and we're here this morning inside my garage. I just got done working on a project that I had started before I went on vacation, and I decided it was time to go ahead and get her finished up. We got it done, and I wanted to share with you a couple thoughts that I had regarding our gospel reading from today. In just a moment, let me find it in the bulletin here. All right, so this is our gospel reading for today, or for yesterday, and it's from Mark chapter 6, and it begins with verse 30, and it runs all the way through verse 44. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And he said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while." For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And when they had went away in the boat to a desolate place by themselves, now many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran there on foot and from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. And when it grew late, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a desolate place, and the hour is now late. Send them away to go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered them, "You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "Shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give it to them to eat?" And he said to them, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." And when they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Then he commanded them all to sit down in groups on the grass. So they sat down in groups by hundreds and by 50s. And taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and said a blessing and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples to set before the people. And he divided the 2 fish among them all. And they all ate and were satisfied, and they took up 12 baskets full of broken pieces and of the fish. And those who ate the loaves were 5,000 men. Now, there's a lot that can be said about this particular text, but I want to draw out just a couple things. I recently went on vacation, and it was fantastic. We celebrated my wife's and my anniversary. We celebrated birthdays for my mom and my brother. We got together as a big family unit with both my wife's side of the family and my side of the family. We went fishing. We just spent time together as a family. We relaxed. It was just a really nice time. And the thing that I want to draw your attention to is we're inside the summer, and during the summer, a lot of us will go places in order to take a break, to rest, to relax. I saw on my Facebook feed recently a gentleman I know that his family was in the Dakotas, traveling there. I've got people who've been traveling kind of all over the U.S. And the thing is this is good. In our gospel reading for this past Sunday, we hear Jesus specifically tell the disciples to go and recharge. He even tells them to go to a desolate place, and he leads them there. So we are to practice that kind of self-care, and this is a big thing. We need to do this. Now, on the other side of it, we hear that the people chased after them to the place where they went, to that desolate place where Jesus took the disciples, excuse me, so that they could recharge. And when they got there, all these people were already there. Now, the thing that I want to draw you to is the fact that the work of the church doesn't end. So even if you're on vacation, that faithful work that you have doesn't come to an end. You still witness, you still proclaim the gospel, you still do all of these things. And in some cases, it's just by doing godly family stuff. It's proclaiming that gospel to the world around you, being a good dad or being a good mom, being a loving sibling. That these things proclaim the gospel message. But also, when we go on vacation and we maybe ask the guy at the hotel, what's the best church to go to? Where's the nearest church that I can attend? And as we do these things, we make a testimony to the world around us, and we continue on doing that work even though we're recharging and resting. Now, the last part that I want to bring you to is that we are called to rest and relax. The work of our faith never really ends. But what we see in our reading today is that all the heavy lifting was done by Jesus. Not a single thing was really done heavy lifting wise by the disciples. Yes, they had to wait tables and they had to do all this other stuff. But the real heavy lifting, the provision of 5,000 men plus women and children, was done by Jesus. All the heavy lifting of the faith is done in our lives, empowered by the Spirit of God as we proclaim Jesus Christ. So we don't really do that much. We just happen to be there. We wait the table like the disciples did. Because as shocking as it is, the one thing that we don't often talk about is the reality of all these people out in a desolate place, as the gospel writer says. Where were these people to go? If they'd have come into the little towns that I live in, 5,000 people would have inundated all of them, and there wouldn't have been enough food anyways for any of them. So we see Jesus providing extraordinarily and powerfully for all of those people. The disciples were there, they were resting, they were doing what they were supposed to, but they were still working inside the faith, they were still proclaiming that gospel message, and because of that, Jesus does the heavy lifting. As you go into your week, I don't know if you're preparing to go on vacation. If you are, good on you. I hope you have a good time. But I also would encourage you to remember that even on vacation, God loves you. Jesus still offered himself for you, and you still are a testimony of faith to who he is. If you're not preparing to go on vacation, hey, guess what? It's the same thing. You still are a testimony of Jesus Christ, and you still have the work of the Spirit of God upon you. And whether you're on vacation or in the workplace, we rejoice knowing that the hard work of bringing the faithful to Christ is done by the Spirit of God. Salvation is given to us by the hard work of Jesus Christ. And all of these things are because of the incredible love that the Father has for us. So go into your week remembering to take care of yourself, that you never get away from being Christian and proclaiming the gospel message. But Jesus always does all the heavy lifting. God bless you. I'm Pastor Phil. I'll see you again tomorrow as we get back into Galatians and take a look at it. God bless you, and I'll see you then.